All right, guys, it's the best time of the year. NFL football is back. If you can't already tell, I'm really excited for this season. Up to this point, we've been sharing with you guys our favorite NFL future bets and favorite NFL awards. But going forward, it's going to look a little bit differently now.
Yeah, so this is our early week preview for the NFL regular season, and we'll be sending these out every single week. Just make sure you guys are subscribed to our page, just in case there are any significant line changes, injuries, or any new bets we want to add to our cards. As news comes out during the week, there's a lot that could change, so it's definitely worth paying attention to any updates we might have.
Yeah, we'll make sure to keep you guys updated. But for now, let's go into our week one picks. For me, my favorite against the spread bet this week and my lock of the week is the San Francisco 49ers minus 7.5 against the Lions. It's a lot of things going on in this game, but plain and simple, the Niners are just flat out a way better football team than the Detroit Lions. There's not a position that the Detroit Lions have that is better than what the 49ers have. The only thing that the Lions have in offense in terms of skill or above average skill is TJ Hockenson at tight end, and the Niners have George Kittle. This Lions defense was last in the league last year in terms of points per game, yards per pass, and a myriad of other defensive categories. I would expect Jeff Okudah, their stud cornerback, first-round pick last year, to step it up a little bit. But other than that, I don't see a lot of other things being addressed. They got a new defensive coordinator that is probably going to have fits trying to solve Kyle Shanahan's high-powered offense. The Niners defense is incredible itself. 2 years ago, they're 2 years removed from being in the Super Bowl, up 10 points against the Chiefs in the fourth quarter. This team is bringing back virtually everyone for that 2019 team. Their defense is a little less solid, but still top 10, very much above average, with guys like Nick Bosa, D Ford coming back, and a stud middle linebacker and Fred Warner that can really do everything in terms of pass defending and run blocking. Really, the only strength the Lions have at offense is their O-line and maybe their run game, but this 49ers front seven defense is going to nullify that completely. I don't expect the Niners to get much going on offense, especially not in the pass game when their number one receiver is Tyrell Williams, who is a second or third receiver, career journeyman for like the Raiders and the Chargers, who's certainly never been number one wide receiver quality. And they got a couple other guys that really aren't all that relevant. I expect the Niners to dominate on defense, control the ball in the run game, and put up a lot of points with some crafty trick plays that Shanahan's been scheming up all season. And then the Lions really struggling on offense with just really lack of talent all around. I expect the Niners to win this game like 30-13. As long as they don't commit stupid turnovers, which Jimmy G doesn't do that often. He's a great game manager at quarterback. I think they win this game handily.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything Ian said. The Niners have a mismatch at every single position. They're just going to dominate every single level, every single matchup in this game.
Yeah, expect week one, the Niners, who are hungry to win the division, in a competitive division, to come out ready to play this year. The Lions, I don't think I can say the same for them.
And then we'll move on. Our next pick, I have the Patriots at minus 2.5 at home against the Dolphins. In the last 6 years, Bill Belichick is 5-1 in his openers. Additionally, the Patriots beat the Dolphins by 10 at home last year, and this is with Cam Newton playing. I thought Cam Newton was terrible for the Patriots last year. They still finished at 7-9, mostly because the defense was keeping them in games. But Cam had 16 turnovers, and he didn't even play a full 16 games. This team had terrible quarterback play throughout the whole season. Every time I turned their game on, they were always in it in the fourth quarter, and Cam would be taking his last game leading drive at the very end of the game. He'd fumble it or throw a pick every single time. Like it was ridiculous. Actually, the first 6 or so weeks, he did not allow them to stay competitive. Mac Jones is now named the clear-cut starter. Cam was cut. So this team has a clear vision moving forward. They're going to play with Mac Jones, and this matchup is perfect for what they're going to want to do with Mac Jones. Mac Jones is going to be a game manager at the very start of his career. The Patriots have a much better O-line than the Dolphins have on D-line. And also, the Dolphins' best linebacker, Kyle Van Noy, just moved back to the Patriots this offseason. So Miami is an insane secondary. I'm not going to deny that. Probably the best in the league. But Mac Jones isn't going to have to throw the ball very much.
Yeah, Bill Belichick's not going to put him in a situation where he's got to throw all the time. Yeah. So he's going to control the ball with the run game. like you said, make Mac Jones make reasonable throws, not win the game, and rely on that defense who 2 years ago was the best in the league in points per game, passing yards per game, and a lot of other statistics before last year when a lot of their starters sat out just due to COVID.
Yeah, I just think this is a great match for the Patriots. I don't know how you bet against Belichick week one.
Yeah,
He's had the whole offseason to plan for this game. They're at home too.
If you get Belichick at home to win by 3 or more, you take that bet. That's going to win plenty more than 50% of the time.
Yeah, I won't say anything else additionally there, but our next pick for the against the spread, what's a professional picks video without a Washington football team bet? I love this one too. Again, as always, Washington football team +1 home underdogs. It doesn't make any sense. This team had the 32 ranked team QBR last year between Heineke, Haskins, Colt McCoy,
and Alex Smith, who basically was playing on one leg.
Yeah, they didn't have a quarterback essentially last year. They got Ryan Fitzpatrick, who only has to play around middle of the league. 15 to even 20th is a massive upgrade over what they had last year, and they still made the playoffs with that team. So their D line's all first rounders. Their secondary with William Jackson and Kendall Fuller. You got Landon Collins. Like, they're stacked everywhere. And then their one potential weakness was at linebacker, and they went and got Jamin Davis, who we have as our defensive rookie of the year pick if you look back and watch our other video. But this Washington football team defense is insane. Their offense got upgraded.
I mean, they got a great tight end, wide receiver, and running back. The only question they really had on their team is quarterback. While they don't have a stud quarterback, he's definitely he can make a lot of plays. He is turnover prone, but he's shown he can win games in the past with worse teams too. I expect Fitzpatrick to do really well in the system and the Washington football team to really thrive. But we've talked a lot about them in a lot of our videos. Talk about the Chargers and what do you see about them?
Yeah, so for the Chargers, they're a team with a lot of hype around them. They have Justin Herbert coming off as offensive rookie of the year. But this team, through the first 13 weeks last year, they had only beaten the Bengals in week 1, and then their other 2 wins were against the Jets and the Jags, who were competing for worst team in the league.
And those were 3 of the bottom 4 teams in the league last year.
Yeah, so right there, the first 13 games were irrelevant. And then my favorite stat is the Los Angeles Chargers only had 1 win last year against a team with a winning record. And that was the Kansas City Chiefs in week 17 when they started Chad Henne. So essentially they didn't beat a single team with a winning record. And not that the Washington football team had a winning record last year, but we have them to win the division. I highly expect them to go around 10-7 this year. This is a playoff team. The Los Angeles Chargers have not played up to their competition yet. They have also every year they're trying to hype up their defense, and they have so many injuries, and they're just blame it on the injuries. But this team just straight up not as good as everybody thinks it is.
Yeah, they're very overhyped. They blew a handful of double-digit fourth quarter leads last year. They're a very unproven team to be going on the road and being the favorite. But we like the football team +1. Just take a money line, honestly, at even money. And I really like that bet because I just think they're a solid team with solid coaching. And just a stud defense that we talked about.
Yeah. And the one last point is Austin Eckler is their primary running back. He's a receiving back. This team is one-dimensional. They're going to pass almost every play. That's how Justin Herbert won Rookie of the Year. And this Washington football team is going to just blitz or just send 4 and keep 7 back in the secondary.
The D-line's so good they don't have to blitz. They'll drop back 7 in coverage and force them to make tough throws. Dare them to run the ball, which they're probably not going to do very well. It just doesn't seem like this Chargers team is built to beat this I keep saying that. This football team,
Yeah, we got I mean, we'll move on there, but you also got Ron Rivera, 2 times coach of the year versus Brandon Staley, who's
Seahawks former defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and it's his first head coaching start, and I don't know. I just don't see him going into the Washington being Ron Rivera week 1.
I don't see it either.
And we'll go on to our over-unders.
Yeah, I really like the over-under on this Tennessee-Arizona game. And it's really all about the offense in this one. We all know about the Tennessee offense, the 4th in the league last year in points per game. Derrick Henry rushing for over 2,000 yards. A.J. Brown's already a stud, and they went out and got Julio Jones too. I just don't know how you're a defense and you plan against these guys. You got to commit to having a stacked box to stop Derrick Henry. And then you got 2 bona fide studs at each wide spot, the wide receiver. You can't double team both A.J. Brown and Julio Jones and expect to stop Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill's really found a home in this Titans offense, looking way better than he did in Miami, and he really thrives off Derrick Henry's strength and run game in the play action and just getting guys deep, wide open down the field, and having a lot of time with that play action developing. So this team's just going to put up points, and I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to do the same thing. Obviously, they have one of the best receivers in DeAndre Hopkins. They also went out and got AJ Green this offseason, and when healthy, he's a stud. You had to think week one he's going to be coming back pretty healthy, right? He's not gonna, he shouldn't be dinged up at all week one. So I expect him to do a lot of things. Their run game isn't great in Arizona, but I really don't care about that because I want them to throw the ball. I want them to be getting big chunk plays for their team. They got guys that they drafted like Rondell Moore out of Purdue, who runs a sub 4.340. So while these DBs are going to be keying in on AJ Green and DeAndre Hopkins, this guy's just going to fly down the field, really stretch it out. And there's very few guys in the league at defense that can outrun this guy. I expect him to see a lot of deep balls this game and throughout the rest of the season. And then, despite the offense too, Tennessee Titans defense is just garbage. They were last in the year in sacks, and that was with Jadeveon Clowney, who's now gone. They lost a lot of guys in the secondary too, who were 30th in the league in passing yards per game or passing yards per attempt. Now they addressed some of those issues, but now 3 of their 5 DBs are playing their first career game this season. I don't expect any DB in his first game to be able to guard AJ Green, DeAndre Hopkins, or any other above average wide receiver. So I think this Tennessee defense is going to struggle. I think this Tennessee offense, like they've proven they can do, is going to thrive, and you're just going to see a big shootout this game with a lot of points being put up.
And we'll move on to our teasers.
Yeah, I already talked about how I just talked about how I liked the Arizona Titans over. And then I started looking into some betting trends, and DraftKings has only 1/3 of the public is betting this over on the Titans game, but over 67% of the money is on that over, which is telling me that there are a much smaller amount of the population with deeper pockets and smart money are betting on this over. And I, in betting, want to follow the smart money. I don't want to follow these dumb people that are betting with emotion. I want to follow the smart money who's betting with great models and expertise. The same thing's going with this Broncos under, but even more drastic result. Only 20%, 1/5 of the public is betting on this under, but over 2/3, 67% are betting on the under. So same thing. Not a lot of individual people are betting, but those individuals that are betting this under are betting massive amounts of money because they really like what's going on this under. And I do too personally. Both these defenses and the Broncos and the Giants are insane, especially this Broncos secondary they just got Kyle Fuller from the Bears, Bryce Callahan, and Justin Simmons, who are all Pro Bowl DBs. And then they went out and drafted Patrick Surtain in the draft, who I thought was the number 1 cornerback there, even though he got drafted after J.C. Horn. I don't expect the Giants really to get all that much going in the air here. The Giants defense is really good, especially in their run game. I just see a lot of punting and there's not a lot of turnovers and a lot of drastic change in field position. I don't see either of these teams really putting up much more than 20, 22 points. So in this teaser, I'm adding 6 points in my favor for each of these lines. So instead of the under at 41.5, I'm moving that line to 47.5. And instead of this over at 52.5, which I already like, I'm bumping that down to over 46.5. So just following the smart money here, hedging my bet a little bit by teasing these lines. And I really like this one. And I got another teaser coming up next that I like even more.
Yeah, I just want to mention, this is a great move, teasing both of these lines. You have like Ian mentioned, Cardinals, Titans, 2 very high scoring offenses. You now have them at a line where they only need to score over points at a line less than this Broncos Giants matchup. It just makes too much sense. The Broncos Giants should realistically be under 40. So when you get up to 47.5, and then vice versa for the Cardinals Titans, it just makes it way easier, increases your chance by a ton, even if the payout's -120.
Yeah, Broncos game, I'm anticipating like a 23-17 game, and this Cardinals game like 33-30. There's going to be a lot of points in one of them and not a lot in the other game.
Well, I'll wrap it up.
This is my bet that I like the most out of everything I've talked about. I know Sleewa likes it a lot too. Teasing the Niners and the Rams spread. I'll start with the Rams. Chicago Bears are putting out Andy Dalton in front of an O-line that is absolutely terrible. That's going to try to block Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd. They're just not going to get the job done. Dalton's going to be on the ground a ton. The Bears aren't going to be able to do really much at all on offense, despite having pretty decent talent, just because their O-line and quarterback play are terrible. The Rams obviously have one of the best offenses and one of the best defenses in the league, with also having Jalen Ramsey at cornerback. I just don't see a lot going for the Bears in this game. And Sean McVay, notably as a head coach, has never failed to cover the spread in week one. And all I'm asking him to do here is just beat the Bears Sunday night at home under the lights against Andy Dalton. I think that's a gimme. Same thing with the Niners. I think they blow out the Lions anyways, as I already talked about. But even if for somehow they don't, I don't see a prepared Kyle Shanahan with a fully revamped, healthy team, new playbook to go into this Dan Campbell coach Lions team who has very little talent across the board. And I don't see the Niners losing this game. So take them at -1.5. Maybe wait a little bit, see if the line drops back down to -7 so you can get the line at -1. Both these teams just have to win. This is going to be a very competitive division in the NFC West. They're going to have to take their wins whenever they get them, and that means beating crappy teams like this Bears and Lions team. I think both these teams come out with a big intensity week one and take care of business against these subpar teams.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked a lot about the Niners-Lions matchup, but just to give a little input on the Bears-Rams, it seems like the Bears coaching staff with Nagy, they don't trust Fields to just go out there week one. They're kind of just throwing this game away.
Certainly not against the best defense. You don't want Fields' first game being under the lights and having Aaron Donald stare you down 10 feet away from you. That's terrifying.
Yeah, this Bears team is just – they're not ready for the season yet, honestly. If a team needed a few more weeks, any team in the league needed a few more weeks, it'd be the Bears.
Their O-line is trash. They just signed Jason Peters, who's 39-year-old vet that 31 other teams are passing on. So that signing reeks of desperation. That just shows you how bad their O-line is if they're just taking a guy that everyone else doesn't want on their team.
Yeah, we traded up for Tevin Jenkins in the first round too, and he's still out with back injuries, so he's not going to play. And that's why we had to sign Jason Peters.
And their other guys in O-line that were pretty solid last year are gone now too. So they just really have a brand new O-line that does not have a lot of promise against one of the best defensive fronts in football.
And we're expecting Jalen Johnson to be our corner one, who's a good corner.
I love Jalen Johnson, but he's not ready yet.
I saw a Bears article today that was comparing him to. They're expecting him to have a Jalen Ramsey year 2 lead, which I love
the
him
guy.
too.
I love the guy, but I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
So this is my favorite. That's my favorite teaser. So I'm putting 3 units on that teaser. I like that so much. When I bet it at Niners -7, so I got the -1 each side. All they got to do, Niners on the road in Detroit and the Rams at home, just win the football game and I'll win this bet. I'm putting 3 units on that because I'm confident that both these teams will win that game. And again, I'm confident that the Niners are going to cover the spread and blow out the Lions anyways. So I'm betting on that spread too. Titans, Cardinals, expect a shootout, expect a lot of deep bombs, a lot of passing this game. Maybe even like a 90-yard Derrick Henry touchdown run, his signature move, the stiff arm, throwing some guy in a highlight reel. And then following the smart money on another teaser, that same over, teased down 6 points. And then the Denver New York Giants under teased up 6 points. Found the smart money there, taking where the public isn't really looking, but the smart money's hammering these lines. And that's why I like them so much.
And then for me, I'm taking the same Niners Rams teaser as Woj. I just really love the NFC West to beat up on their non-divisional opponents this year. Wins are going to be so hard to come by in the NFC West that I really expect them to dominate the Bears and the Lions in week one, especially when you have it teased down. They just basically have to win the game at this point. When I expect them to both have to win by blowouts.
These should be double-digit wins anyways, but just to, be safe, we'll take the teaser.
Woj is our NFL guy, so I have a smaller card, smaller units. I'm only putting 2 on that one, but that's my big play. And then as I've always been saying, Washington football team +1
every
at
video.
Home.
Get used to it. Every single video.
Come on, that's free money. Washington football team. I might have to change that to 2 units, and then. Yeah, I'm not even going to say anything about it. Washington football team, week 1 lock. Heard it here. Just say whatever you want in the comments. I'll have a reaction video later in the week or after that game.
Yeah, you really hope they don't lose now.
They'll be fine.
And then Belichick
at home. Only have to win by a field goal.
3 points, no brainer.
Yeah. The Dolphins, everybody's talking about their upgrade pass attack. Shaheen's hurt. Not that he matters, but
Fuller's out.
Fuller's
this game too.
hurt. And then Waddle, who will probably be great. Rookie receivers don't usually jump on the scene week 1.
Especially when you got J.C. Jackson guarding you too. It's like
Yeah, 9 picks last year.
You're going up against a tough defensive secondary too. It's tough for rookies to just acclimate in the league first game back. Rarely does that happen. So give this Dolphins team a little bit more time. I don't think they're ready to compete with the Patriots yet.
Yeah, and that wraps up our week 1 NFL preview. Like we mentioned at the start of the video, stay tuned for any changes in our cards.
Yeah, you're gonna want to subscribe to make sure you stay tuned with all updates that we have, and keep track of our other bets too.
Yeah, and if you haven't already, like this video. Very important to subscribe, like we kept on mentioning throughout the video, and let us know if you're tailing or fading in the comments. And we hope you guys keep watching.
Take that teaser. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah, honestly, if you're taking one bet out of this video, take that Niners Rams teaser. That one is our play of the week.
Yeah.
All right.
Catch you guys next week.